I'm Ryan Durbin from RD Ceramics, and I'm located in Southgate, Kentucky.
And I'm Becca Otis from Five Lines Pottery in Monroe, Washington. And welcome to Wheel Talk.
Okay, so we're live.
Oh, okay. We're live. Are we live?
We are live.
Are we live?
Yes.
We're live. Howdy. Hi.
Howdy.
Ryan.
Hi, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Thanksgiving week Monday.
Oh, yeah. Are you doing any fun plans for Thanksgiving?
Kind of one of those typical family things. We both are from Louisville, Rachel and I, so, we do the 2 different Thanksgivings in Louisville and kind of thing. So we'll head that way Wednesday night after Rachel gets off work, pick her up at the airport, drive to Louisville a couple hours, and then, get up in the morning Thursday and start helping with cooking and all that kind of thing for her side. And then we'll go to my family's in the evening on Thursday. So
you do 2 Thanksgivings?
Yeah.
Do you get full? I could never do 2. One time I had to do
3. Yeah, I mean, it depends. It's changed over the time. I mean, we usually do 1 for her side, and then we either go to my aunt and uncle's in the past, and they have 1 on theirs, or, they don't like it on my side of the family. People don't just like all get around one table and eat at one time. It's more like, hey, the food's ready, and like go get food. It's not like a sit down thing. Yeah, it's more informal on my side. And it's always really been like that. And then I have Friday off work, so that should be good. Just kind of relax before I have a show on Saturday. So I got to come back Friday night.
That's good.
Yeah. What about you?
Let's see. Well, I don't have any family close, and so my aunt and uncle did invite me to their Thanksgiving, but I had already made plans, so I kind of like just see who invites me the quickest, and I grab onto that, and then I stick with it.
So it's like friends or family friends or something that are close that and then they ask you to come around and hang out for the weekend or whatever.
Yeah. My typical Thanksgiving plans are in Hawaii, and so I had to pick somebody new this year.
I read that as you go to Hawaii for Thanksgiving. The people you normally go to are in Hawaii.
Are in Hawaii. Val Flynn. I usually eat Thanksgiving dinner with Val Flynn. And anyway, so I'm going to the place that I parked my van at over the summer for Leavenworth. So.
Okay.
And they're 83 and 89 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll have Thanksgiving there. That'll be good, except for it's supposed to snow, and hopefully I can get back in time.
Yeah, because going to the Leavenworth area is like, the weather's more unpredictable and stuff, right?
Yeah. It's like there's a mountain pass, so if it snows like an actual snow, so. It's funny because Washington is split in half by the mountains, and then my side of the half, like if they even get 2 inches of snow, it's like, oh my god, close everything. And the other half is very much like Colorado, so if they get 8 inches of snow, then it's like, okay, we can close the schools.
Wow.
But that's about it. So, yeah. Cool. I assume your day was good.
Yeah, kind of same old thing. I had a Etsy restock this weekend, and I shipped out 2 pieces this morning that sold. I posted like 18 oil bottles and then some ornaments. Only 2 things sold, which is fine. I think I probably need to. I don't know. There's always that like unsure, like you don't really know what's gonna happen when you post stuff. You can put the effort in up front to like advertise, and I feel kind of like, man, like I'm too salesy when I advertise some of that stuff on Instagram or whatever. To say, hey, I'm gonna put stuff up, but still got to do some of that. And then posted stuff. I sold a couple. One's actually going to your area in Washington. I don't remember the city, but it was going to Washington State.
Oh, cool.
And
yeah, I think that you and I probably have similar people because I share everything that you post on Facebook.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah, but yeah, I know. It's always so weird to do an update, because you know that if you make those and take them to a show, they're gonna sell.
Right. And then conveying that to people online, and like I feel like there's been demand for that item. So I've been putting some effort into like picking some of the best ones that are of different colors, so I have some variety and different shapes and whatnot. So when I did post them, I felt like I had a good cross section of items.
Right.
But we'll see. We'll see what. I'm sure I'll sell a few more this week, and maybe once the holiday shopping starts and stuff like that. I don't know if I want to incentivize people by putting like a sale on stuff, because I don't know if it's worth doing that. But I don't really feel like I have to sell them that bad that I want to put a sale on stuff.
Bills.
Yeah, so so yeah, that's pretty much my Monday. What about you?
I almost fell asleep tonight driving down to Tacoma to get my clay. It's like an hour and a half, and I was so tired by the end of it. Last night I got slightly intoxicated by wine. So my friends own a wine bar, and I was down there, and it was one of their birthdays, and so we went down there, and I haven't gotten like intoxicated at all in probably, I don't know, 5 months, 4 months. So I slept like crap, and I didn't want to wake up this morning. I wanted to just call off all of today, but I'm here.
Cause is your shop open Monday?
No, it's not open.
Okay.
And like I don't have a hangover or anything. I'm just tired, and I've been tired for like a couple weeks. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you're talking about going to Tacoma. Did you get clay today then? Is that why?
Yeah.
Okay.
I always get clay on Mondays. Monday is my clay day.
Okay.
And but other than that, it's good. I am also in this weird month-long show. I also have a show in a week or 2 weeks that I have to have stuff for, which I don't have anything for. And not surprising, not doing very well at this show. It's all Christmas themed, and I have my mugs there. So.
Is this a brick and mortar shop that has items
it's like
for?
A pop-up. Yeah, it's like a pop-up near a Christmas tree farm.
Okay.
But I've never traditionally done well at like Christmas shows. I'm splitting my booth with a friend, and I hope she does really, really well. So.
Yeah. Oh, I did have a show this weekend.
How did you do?
That was so that's the Queen City Clay Holiday Bazaar I had. This was the fourth year I've done it. I'm trying to remember what I sold last year. I want to say I sold like $900 worth last year.
Nice.
Maybe. And they have the central cashier, the 80-20 split. So I don't really I can stand by my booth and talk people up, except I just don't have to handle the point of sale part. So it's pretty easy. I think I was adding stuff up. I was trying to keep track of items people were picking up as they walked off, because I have pretty good memory of like what prices are on them. Mm-hmm. So I think I sold $1,000 worth.
Nice.
And then 20%. So I think I sold a little. I think like $950 maybe. So I think I sold a little over like $1,000 plus, like to where I'm at $950 with 20% off. So I think I'll be pushing close to $1,000. We'll see. Some of those little things I can't really know, like the ornaments and stuff. I wasn't watching the trees where the ornaments were, because we had them in a few places. But that was a good show. You definitely get a wide range of people at that, because it's a lot of students that are selling there that aren't. So you get a wide range of prices too. So as customers, you'll get the customers that look at mugs and they don't see too much of the differences between them, and they'll go for the lower price item because the students aren't as in tune with like pricing or quality or production and stuff. So they, but yeah. So there's some of that, and then there's like, some of them don't really like sell their stuff. They're just kind of standing there, and they'll answer things if they're asked, but they don't really talk people up that much. But there was also some like other people that are more experienced that don't talk people up as much. I don't know. It's just one of those things where like when I see people are disappointed in sales, it's one of those where I can see like why some of the reasons why they don't sell, but
Yeah.
it's kind of like how much effort you want to put into it. I work my sales a lot, and I put a lot of effort into getting
Yeah.
every sale. So I like that kind of challenge and the pursuit of it.
The pursuit of money. Yeah,
But
yeah, this show in particular is one of those central cashiers that you don't stay at, nor is there a place for you to even like stay if you wanted to. You know, it's like you get a 3x8 table or space and you sell your stuff. I need to get some signs on there that say what things are. But because it definitely does help for my stuff to sell it at least a little. So,
yeah,
yeah, but it should be interesting to see the post. You know, the show overall did really well this weekend. They made like $14,000 this weekend.
wow,
So
nice.
yeah, yeah. But also, it's kind of fun being in a show where everybody's so open about money. That's been really fun. Not
So wait, was 14 the central cashier
mm-hmm.
money? So they told you how
14,000
much it
was
was?
the central cat. Yeah, like they post a sheet of what everybody sells. Like like they have the number and then the item, and they just take a picture of that sheet and send it in this like group chat. And I've never been in a show like that, and
That's
I
awesome.
love it. I was like,
That's
that's
like
so cool.
that's like a teacher putting their grades outside their office or something.
Exactly. It's like so nice and like and I mean I don't really care what anybody else sells. I mean yeah, I see who's like what number is the highest just for funsies, but I'm not like counting people's, their sales. But
Right.
it is nice to be like, "Oh, look, I'm not selling anything." Hamna.
But I don't know. There was a one person there that was selling that is an instructor, and they don't rely on the money. They're just kind of like, hey, it's cool to sell stuff. But they made a comment about like they don't want to feel like they're taking sales away from people that rely on it for an income. And I was like, but like, do you really? That's the kind of competitive thing that like if you get a sale, then you're taking away from someone else that needs it. But I don't really see it that way. I don't know.
No. I mean, there's enough pottery to go around.
Yeah.
Regardless, they're gonna buy your pottery if they're gonna buy your pottery. It's not, yeah. If one sale is
Yeah, you're
gonna,
not making identical things to other people, and because your price is a different one than theirs, or they need to verbalize that they need it more than someone else, so
well,
they're
and
gonna
then
buy.
I also am like, if you are the person that he's taking sales away from, get better. If you're doing it full time and you're not having sales as much as said person who is an instructor that doesn't do this full time, get better. Because if they're beating you, then I mean that sucks for you, but go do better.
Yeah, that's kind of where like you either someone else doesn't have to, you know, I don't know how to say this. Someone doesn't have to have something bad happen to them for someone else to get the positive in it, I guess.
Yeah, totally.
There doesn't have to be a winner and a loser, I guess, for,
Mm-mm.
you can work to improve and succeed so that you kind of work your way up and improve.
Totes. We should probably talk about what we're supposed to talk about.
Yeah.
Today.
I don't even know what time we're at right now.
We're
I
at
can't
15
see it.
minutes almost.
Okay. All right. So what are we talking about today?
We are talking about debt. And Ryan sent me a list of all the things he wanted to talk about, and absolutely all of them I know we're going to struggle with because
I actually sent you two things, and one of them had sub bullet points on it.
One of them had bullet points.
Yeah, so the major one that you saw was all related to debt.
Yeah, to debt. And I was like, sure, yeah, let's do any of those because I'm bad at all of those. Yay! So, here we are talking about debt.
What about debt?
Do you shit, I forgot what I was supposed to say. Um, is it necessary to... Is debt something that is okay or necessary when starting a small business?
Nice.
Is that right? Was that right?
That sounds right.
All right.
I was going to start jumping in there, but I wanted you to get it. You got it.
Okay.
Sweet. Yeah, so how do we jump into this? I don't know. So I'm more of a less risk, so I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say get things that are gonna have a better impact on making you more money in the future, or build efficiencies in your process that make you money or save you money in the long run. So like if you're, reclaiming a ton of clay, and a pug mill is going to save you a bunch of work, and you've got student work, and you're,
Oh, but if you get a pug mill, get the 20, VPN 20, not the VPN 9. We had a conversation about this. If you throw more than one bag of clay a day, you best be getting the VPN 20. Don't be stupid like Becca. Okay, continue.
But maybe a good question to start would be, I'm kind of in the understanding that I would want to learn how to make money with what I have before taking on debt for something that I think has a possibility of making me more money. Like, I want to be sure that I'm already doing something and I see that there's an area that could be optimized, that debt may
like, I think
make sense.
If I understand what you're saying is, like, you wouldn't go into debt if you were like straight out of college and you're like, I'm gonna do pottery full time. You wouldn't go into debt right then.
You wouldn't buy a $2,000 kiln because you want to get into pottery.
Right. What you would do is you'd get a shitty kiln or shitty equipment, figure out if you can do this, see if you've got a future in this, and then potentially the debt might be feasible. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, ultimately, I would say that you would want to make money on what you currently have and figure out how to make it work with the equipment that you already have that is working or is manageable.
Yeah.
And then refine your craft and, learn how to sell stuff so that you can pay off your equipment, or I say pay off, but, have enough money that equipment has been paid off. You got your money's worth out of it. And then I would say save if you can to buy new equipment.
That's hilarious.
But I don't know. I mean, you kind of came into the situation where you didn't have enough. Your equipment died on you, and you had to get something urgently.
Oh, yeah.
Because
and so we
you
should
were
also
in a
preface.
bind.
Yeah, we should also preface my. I am in debt. Straight up, I am in debt. Now, there's a little bit of it. There's kind of a little bit of difference. When I chose to go into debt, I could have paid for it in cash if I wanted to, because I had sold my house, but I didn't want that money to go into the business. I wanted that to be for me for when I retire or whatever. So, and I've also been able to use the money from my house as small business loans for other people, and I've been making money off of it. So I think of that, I think that a lot of people also is like, oh, well, you have 20 grand in the bank, you should use that for your business. I don't think that's necessarily something that you need to, if you're starting a business, you need to know what is your money and what is your business's money. There needs to be a pretty set line. So
you're saying 20,000 in a personal savings account versus 20,000 that you've had in a savings because the business made $20,000 because you sold that much.
Yeah,
in
so
pots.
If you have $20,000 saved up in your 401k to retire with, I think that it is completely 100% inappropriate to borrow that money from yourself if you can't pay it back.
Especially when you have to pay a bunch of taxes on it to remove it out of.
Right.
You're going to forfeit a bunch of money because you have to remove it outside of that appropriate window.
So just because you have money, personal money, doesn't mean that you should be using, And like, let's say you have personal money and you're like, I need to buy a $2,000 kiln. Just because you have personal money doesn't mean that you should be using that personal money for your business. Um, in my life, if it's come out of the business into my personal life, it stays there. So, with that being said, I have a $10,000. Okay, so when I started up the shop, I had already been doing pottery for 4 years, 3 years, 3 years, and I got a $10,000 business loan to open up the shop and like get all the things, which in business is actually pretty tiny. I got that from my parents. Originally, we got it for 5% interest, and then my mom yelled at my dad, and then now it's no interest. And
What about going in debt to your family?
I had agreed to with my dad. We had like talked about it, and I was like, yeah, we can do a 5% interest for 3 years, and he was like, okay, sounds good. And then my mom found out, and she's like, you did what?
You're making money on your daughter.
I told somebody recently, I was like, I could hear the look that my mother gave me, or that my mother gave my dad over the phone. So I have a $10,000 loan from my parents that is almost paid off. It was a 3-year term, and then I also just got a $10,000 loan from the bank, for the kilns. Like I said, I could have borrowed the money from myself. The reason that we went with the loan was because I actually, as a business, have extremely terrible credit because I don't have any credit history. And because my business has been mostly cash based or within, like, borrowing money from family or whatever, then there's not a lot of credit involved. And so we decided that it might be smart to get a $10,000 loan from the bank. It's also a 3-year loan. It's got like 4% interest or 3% interest, I think. And that's like building my business credit as we kind of like move along. So
Is that a big pot of money, or is that just a credit line, like a credit card that's just for the business?
no, it's like a loan, a fixed loan.
Oh, okay.
It's not a line of credit. So you usually can't get a loan unless you're 2 years into your business too. That's something to be said. They look at everything, they look at your.
Yeah, because they don't want to be loaning money to someone that hasn't
Mm-mm.
proven that they've made money, or,
Yeah. Yeah, if you show no progress within your business and if you have no collateral, like all of my equipment is my collateral for my loan. I've got well over 10 grand just in equipment that I can use for collateral. But that loan was never that loan was very thought about, and it would have never happened prior to me. Like, I didn't even get the electrical or the kilns hooked up until I was at least a year and a half into the store. I knew that it was going to pan out. Like,
yeah.
I was running on like no electricity until this last year. It was one of those things that needed to happen. If it didn't happen, I was not going to succeed within business. So, and I'm glad I did it. It stresses me out every day that I have the debt, but glad I did it. Actually, not really that debt. I have some credit card debt that I'm not really proud of.
That's personal, or that's on the business side that
It's
you've.
on the business side.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
should have gotten more money from the loan.
Yeah.
The electrician ended up giving me an estimate that was like $4,000 less than what the actual cost was.
Whoa.
And I used those estimates to get the loan. So.
Yeah, and then you're like, the loan doesn't cover that, so I got to put it on a credit card that's going to have more interest.
Exactly. So now I'm considering the credit card's in a drawer. I don't even use it, but I'm considering getting. I don't really want to do it, but it might be cheaper in the long run. Square does a line of credit through the company. It comes out to like 12%, but the credit card is like 14-15%. So and the 12% is a one-time thing as opposed to the credit card, which is a.
It sounds like you need a couple flash sales in your holiday season.
I do. I feel like I know. I know. I need to figure something out. So, but it's stressful, man. Debt is stressful. So don't get in it if you can't. If you can
Yeah.
avoid it, don't do it.
Would you say that if you're getting started, so I just have a separate card for my business account and it's just a debit card.
Yeah, if you're getting started, don't get a credit card.
Yeah. I was like, I have another credit card that's separate that's like for our personal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That I was like, well, I don't really use this that much. It's like a travel one. And I was like, well, maybe I should use the business stuff just on this because I could pay it off immediately and then build up travel things so that when I travel to like a conference, I could use the points and stuff out of that credit card and not feel guilty like I'm using personal travel points for that. But that's just logistics of keeping track and moving stuff. But
yeah, I think that I'm not the type of personality type that if you say, "Hey, use this credit card and just pay it off every month and you can get all these points." I don't work well with that. Like that's not my personality type. Like I need to have a debit card and I need to have a budget and I need to have no money that's like not visible, you know? So for me that's like super dangerous. I
that's
think
just
it's
that's just like an obscured way of
yeah.
confusing you.
Yeah, exactly. It's manageable until it's not. You know, people are like, "Oh, it's fine. Just pay it off every month." I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's great until you have to pay $1,500 to get all your BIS stuff, and then oh shit, you just had to pay $400 to get clay, and then oh shit, you got to do this. Oh, you got to do this. Oh, it just adds up and adds up and adds up, and then
Right.
at the end, you're like, well, you spent so much money that what you saved on your miles to get to Hawaii, you could have just paid for it in cash. Had you not used your credit card. So
Yeah.
I'm not yeah. If somebody tells me that, oh, but it's for the miles, I usually am like I have a personal credit card that I use for the miles that I pay off every single month. Um, and it does get paid off every single month. And that one's totally fine. I don't know what the difference is between the business and the personal that's so different for me. I think it's because I know the business is going to make money. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I won't. I'm done with credit cards for business. Done.
So what's the difference in getting a credit card for the business? Do you have to, because it's not under your name, I guess it's
right. It's under your business name, and then they look into your like your P&Ls and your spending and your profit and loss, your spending, your balance sheet, and all that stuff to see.
So if you just have like a debit account, you would have to send them like
Not
statements.
A debit account. Well, it depends. If you
like
open
a checking
up a
account,
business,
sorry.
If you open up a business checking account, did you have to send in statements for the business checking account?
No, it's really just a separate account that's got my name on it. It's not specific to business.
Okay,
It's just mine.
I have a specific business checking account, and I did have to, I had to show them that I was an LLC, and I had to show them that I had a business name, my EIN number, and all those things. So
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that that's all that. They don't really care how much you spend on your business checking account, just if you get a business credit card.
Okay.
So, I think it all depends. It's like that whole thing. Like, should I go into debt for my business? Well, can you get out of debt for your business? Like, I know that the money that I've spent within the debt, I will be able to get out of fairly easily.
Because buying the kilns and stuff for you allows you to
Make
host more
more.
students. You can make
Right.
more quantity. You can your turnaround time is a lot quicker because the kilns
Mhm.
run more efficiently. Is that accurate?
Mhm. Yeah, and my business is growing. Like, it's not really. There's no sign of it, you know, dying anytime soon. Um, I also could bail myself out at any time if I needed to. You know, if I had to
Yeah.
use personal money, I could. But um, my mom always says like I've definitely gotten on the phone with her and been like, I feel I'm so stressed out. Like I shouldn't be this in debt and like this is terrible. And my mom's like, Becca, you're fine.
You're
Like
fine.
you're fine. My parents are very cash first type of people,
Hmm.
but for some reason they've always been like, you're in business. Like having a tiny bit of debt that is manageable is fine. Like okay.
Yeah.
So
And it's not like personal debt that's like ridiculous stuff.
right.
Like you have like a habit of getting some type of thing and you spend thousands upon thousands of dollars on this thing and you're like $40,000 in debt to some ridiculous thing that has no value to it.
Right. Yeah, no. I'm $10,000 in debt to Clay.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
did the paint a pot stuff, was that factored into your loan and whatnot when you were getting the loan, that you were gonna start buying a bunch of product that was gonna make you money when you were doing
No,
that, or
I had the paint a pot. Like the paint a pot was already there when that was happening. I think I did one order though. I think I had like one order that was like $1,500 to $2,000 that I like put onto the loan. But overall, the paint a pot was something that had already like was already in full swing. And that's definitely like that's probably my
because
hardest
something
thing
like that
to keep up.
you were dumping a lot of money up front for sure,
Yeah.
because you have to have a variety, enough variety, and then quantity, and then you have to have all the stroke and coat glazes and the clear glaze and
Yeah, I spent like $1,000 on the stroke and coats the first time I ordered them. And then I would say that and like every time I do an order, it's usually about $1,500. That's like once to every 2 months. And then like right around this time, like I don't really have that much money right now, and and I have plenty of options for Paint a Pot, but I don't have any Christmas options, and I'm really struggling because I'm like, I really don't want to buy those,
mm-hmm.
but
because they're only going to be valid for a few weeks
yeah,
until they sit for another year, and then it's just money sitting on a shelf.
yes,
Yeah, I could see that.
yeah, so it's hard. I mean, when you start like a brick and mortar type store and you have to buy the inventory, that's always hard because you have to kind of like predict what people are going to be buying. And yeah, I
Yeah.
also I also think it's kind of scary us now in this time because we've had some pretty significant recessions in the past that have hit small businesses pretty hard, and it's one thing to be a small business that is like food or pizza or whatever, but it's another thing to be a small business that's not needed, you know?
That yeah, buying handmade items could be seen as a luxury to a lot of people. It's
Right.
not like
And
embedded
so,
in their daily lives, so it's not.
yeah, and so I think that it's important to like to note that we're in this kind of a time where anything could happen, 2008 was a huge example of that, but like anything could happen, your town could go under because they made some decisions that wasn't smart. Like anything could happen. So I always try to keep that in mind when you're about to put a huge chunk of money, if you don't know if it's going to pay off.
Yeah, I can imagine a lot of the businesses and stuff that buy stuff wholesale. and then you're trying to recoup that money. It's like a lot of work to, you buy a lot of clothing or something, and you got to figure out whether that investment's going to be worth it because you're trying to sell,
Right.
you know, sell these things, and then it's timely because it's seasonal kind of things.
Mhm.
And you got to sell these sweaters at this time of year, and if you don't sell them, then they're just kind of sitting there and can't really make your money back on them or whatever. So,
I know. It's crazy. And I was thinking about it today, and like my friend has a shop that does kind of like consignment, and it's 30/70, which is pretty good for consignment. And she's like, "Oh, I sold $400 today," and I was like, "Oh, that's great." And she's like, "Yeah, I mean, 70% of that isn't mine, but I did do 400." I'm like, "Dang, that's a lot." You know, it's a lot
so
not to
wait, she
have.
sold at her shop. That was the total, and she's going to give 70 of it away to the artist that it
Yeah,
came from. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's just a number, right? Like, that's not probably not what she did or anything in the numbers, but I was just thinking about that. How um, when you do consignment or when you do wholesale, you're really, unless you're marking it up 5 times, you're only making double
Mm-hmm.
what, and that's not very much.
Yeah. So what else? I would say the only like money that I put in early that I would consider that was like personal money. I think I transferred like $1,500 from my personal to my business account just to have it sitting in there
Just to
to get
start.
started.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's good.
And that was going to be there to, buy stuff like clay and glaze and stuff like that. And then from there, it's always gone up. I haven't had to add more money to that was not from the business, that
Have you
was
been
not
able to
made
take
from
it
the
out
business.
and give it back to you?
No, not really.
No.
I've only done that for, I don't, yeah, the only money, it sounds funny, the only money that I spend out of that account that's not like an expense that I can put on a line item is like if I buy myself dinner after going to a show or something.
Oh, show. That's still an expense.
But I mean, you're local. From when I talked to my tax guy last year, she was like, "You're not supposed to do anything with food if you're local because you still have to eat in your town."
Oh, yeah, yeah. That makes sense.
It wasn't like traveling, so yeah, I might do that, but that's about it. I've never transferred stuff to pay myself from my business account to my personal because I
Yeah.
don't need that money. So I
Right.
would I get much more excited about seeing the business account grow
But I mean,
because
like,
it
could you pay yourself back the $1,500 that you originally lent to yourself?
if I wanted to, but
Might be
it's
fun
more
someday
like
to give yourself $1,500 and go on like a fun little vacation. Be like, my business paid for this.
eh,
Nah, ha ha ha.
I'd more likely just use it out of like a savings account that we have or something.
Yeah. I don't know. I pay myself, but that's because I have to, I suppose. But I have a lot of expenses that come out of the business. A tud.
So do you have like a reoccurring payment that goes from your business to your other account and it just happens monthly? You deposit a certain amount so you kind of see yourself being paid?
No. I'll do big chunk deposits when I have to pay off that credit card bill. Usually it's like less than $400. And so, I'll do like, because I try and pay off that, I like only buy things with the credit card or with cash, and then I'll pay off that credit card every month. And so here's a big thing: when you're transferring an owner's draw from your business to your personal, you always want to make sure it's in big chunks and ending in a zero so that you know for sure what it is. Um, so I usually take out like 600 at a time or 1,000 at a time or what have you. And then I think that my average was like $1,000 a month to pay myself. So.
Nice. It's something.
What?
I said it's something. Does it?
Yeah, I last year or this year up until this moment here, I'll pull up the actual report. I think it was like $8,000 that I've paid myself this year, which equates to about $3 an hour for a 60-hour work week.
Oh, that's where you posted that.
Yeah.
Folks,
Yeah.
you can do it. $8,000.
$8,000. Yeah, so oh no, it's gone up $9,500. I started with $32,000 in my balance sheet. That just means that I've paid myself $32,000 since 3 years ago. And then now we're at 41,938. So I've paid myself $9,584 this year. That doesn't count I still count the cash in the drawer at the store, but I'll like take 20s out and go buy lunch. So like I'm still counting that for tax. I just don't ever deposit it into the bank. So that happens. And so I only pay $300 a month for. Well, I have an office that I pay $300 a month for, and then.
So when would you say you should? We actually have a friend of ours. I'm sure she'll announce it soon, but when you should invest into like getting a space that's going to. I mean, do you see that as a debt because you're paying rent on something that?
Oh yeah, okay. So I think that if you have invested in your business enough that you know that a space, like in a studio, downtown is your next step, I think that having a debt of a certain amount of money is completely viable. Like how I did $10,000 in debt just to get kind of like just to pay myself for the first couple of months and then to get all the equipment. Because you're inevitably working less, like producing less, because you're like working in your new studio and trying to make it what it is essentially for the first couple of months. But yeah, I think that that's a viable debt, a one-time debt. I don't think that like putting it on credit card or something like that is a good idea.
Yeah, and you should have confidence that you're going to be able to pay the rent at a minimum.
Yeah.
Like you are saving money. You're saving enough money and making enough profit that you can pay that money and just, you'll have a little less profit because that's another expense, but you can work your way up and that profit can increase over time to kind of get you back where you were before you started investing in a studio, because a studio could improve your productivity or your, or squash it, or it gives you a store front that someone can buy stuff out of. But you also have to be ready to like commit to that kind of a change in your workflow as well.
Yeah. I always, the guy that taught me was always like, well, once you have to make the money, you'll make the money. If you're the right kind of person, if you get put into a situation like he had kids, and he had to provide for his family, is like, and when that, when we got shoved into a spot where I had to make the money, I made it. It was like, we had to make the money, so we made the money. If you need money, find it. That's always my go-to. When you need money, find it.
Right. And you do a lot of the flash sales. Have you picked up and worked on stuff outside of clay that have been kind of short term, like a part-time job or something for some hours to make some extra money?
No. Well, no, I've tried. And I found every single time I found out that if I just worked harder at clay, I could make more money.
Yeah.
When you're working for $14 an hour and it takes like an hour away of your time, you're like, I could have made 40 pots in this time. Guess what? Those 40 pots would have been like $14 each.
And that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, so
Because it's the future of money. It's the future sale of this item that was not possible if you were doing something outside of clay for that hour.
Yeah. Now you have to know for sure that piece would have sold. You know, that's another thing, right? Like, I don't have any issue with selling my pieces. I don't know where they sell. I have no idea. I just never have a backstock. So I realize,
I don't know if that's a good problem or a bad problem.
I think that I have elves or something, because I keep making these things and they just keep leaving. Like, like, I don't know where it went, but it went somewhere. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not like we do updates or anything like that. Like, I do a lot of wholesale stuff, so there's that. But yeah, I think that, just in general, I think that debt, obviously, if you can do everything in your life without debt, it's better. But, with business, sometimes debt is needed. If not just to build up your business debt, your business credit report. Like, I think mine's at like 400 right now, because it's my credit reading, because it's like I don't have anything in my history. And so getting a good interest rate is like impossible, because...
Is that mainly going to help you with your business credit card, or is it if you want to get another business loan more than $10,000 in the future?
Yeah, like if I wanted to get a business loan in the future, or if I needed to buy a van, or if I needed, like if I needed to buy a business vehicle, for carting around orders and clay and stuff like that. Because they're not going to check my personal credit, which my personal credit's like 800, right? So.
And that's because you're an LLC. If you were a sole proprietor, would that be the same?
No. If you're a sole proprietor, it goes to your it goes to your credit. It's not It's not
a business credit.
So because we're an LLC, then you're not liable for that, so you have a separate credit. So. Yeah.
Cool. I think we're about wrapped up. Is there anything else?
Did we answer any actual questions this time?
I don't know. I think so.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think ultimately get into it if you know it's going to help scale your business and make you more money. If there's an unsure, like you don't really know if has a direct effect to improve your business, then maybe rethink it, or maybe your timeline needs to be a little longer. You need to save a little more and learn how to refine your selling process so that you can do some flash sales so you can make some quick cash. And then just put some of that money towards your big equipment spend.
I think that I would tend to say don't get a business loan in the first 2 years of business. Wait. If you can avoid a business loan as long as you can, then you'll be better off. So wait 2 years.
Is it mostly because of the stress and the mental part to it?
No, it's because if you can't make it without going into debt, then you're not going to be able to make it.
Nice. Well put.
I mean, I didn't do that, but I had I think I went into debt on my personal credit card. Like, I'm not saying that I'm a hypocrite, but like, I think from past experiences of what I've done, that's what I would say now. Because like, I filled up that credit card faster than you could say hello, and paid that one off, and then I forgot the credit card for the longest time, and then I was like, oh, I guess I'll just use it once, and then it was like one of those things that never goes away.
Yeah, you're like, it's got me out of this jam before.
Yeah, now I have to
That's
get back
next
out
month's
of it.
problem.
Yeah. So yeah, be careful, be wary, be smart with your money, pay for with cash as much as possible.
Yeah, play a little bit more conservative if you can.
Be
If
like
you're
Ryan.
not sure, I don't know.
I think it's important to make leaps of faith and jump into business and do those things if you feel like you can do it, but you got to be smart with your money. So, yep.
All right. Thanks so much for listening today. Hopefully you
Hooray!
got something out of it. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
That's it.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you want to follow me or Ryan, you can follow us on our Instagrams. My Instagram is 5 Lines Pottery Studio. It's the number 5. And his Instagram is at RD Ceramics. That's R as in Ryan, D as in Durban, Ceramics. And we would love for you to follow us, but we would also love it if you gave us a review on whichever platform that you're listening on, and if you tell your friends. We really enjoy doing this, and we hope that we can do it some more and have some great conversations. Thanks!